because it's been another Leicester City victory. I've got Matt Elliott and Matty Fryatt alongside me, Dan Bates, as we assess that. Jerry will be at the New York Stadium as well. It's another win though, Matty. That's 2 in a row you've seen with us now.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously by the 1 goal in terms of 2-1s. All the games this year by the cup ones have been at 2-goal margin, but it was hard at times. Had to dig in and managed to do so, and rode the luck a little bit in terms of Rotherham put quite a bit of pressure on second half, couldn't really take advantage of that, and then I think Leicester just got a bit of momentum. There was a phase of play 10 minutes or so before McAteer's second goal, and it was just that little bit of class. But in the first half there's a moment where he got a shot away and Bramall stood off him. He pulled it across the goal and went wide on that occasion. Then second half, that same opportunity applied, and the distance wasn't great from Bramall. He sort of was off McAteer. It was cut inside and then curled it perfectly into that far corner and gave Leicester the 2-1 win.
Yeah, it's a good finish. Ultimately, but bang on what Matty says there. But whichever way, in terms of like the distance away that Bramall was, but he got a good strike on it, McAteer, though, didn't he? Like a couple of poor touches, cuts inside. Wasn't tentative with his finished left foot. Got some decent power on it, reasonable accuracy, and the keeper probably could have done a little bit better, but couldn't get a big enough touch on it. And fair play to him. You see the smile on his face on the side camera here. He's absolutely revelling in the moment, and rightly so. Man of the match, yeah, Jerry Taggart correctly giving him that. With his 2-goal contribution, that was always going to be the case. But generally, he played pretty well. He looks at home. He looks at home, doesn't he, for sure? And listen, I didn't think Leicester were particularly scintillating, not that convincing for a lot of the game, but some very good signs within the match itself. And obviously the scoreline, 4 games out of 4, 5 out of 5 of the cup, top of the division. Thank you very much. Job done so far, with much improvement to be made and expected along the way.
Yeah, Jerry, we've just seen on one of the other screens here in the studio, Casey McAteer getting the recognition from the travelling Blue Army. Have had a brilliant start to life back in the Championship, haven't they?
Yeah, I think beyond your wildest dreams, 5 games out of 5, taking all points. I think no one probably would have thought that was possible, but Leicester have done it, and they've done it the hard way yet again. But they keep pushing and keep probing, and they keep coming up with match winners. And again, it's not the centre forward who's taking all the spoils. It's one of the wide players, or wide forward, whatever you want to call him. Today it's been a midfielder in Keenan Dewsbury Hall on the opening day, Mavididi against Huddersfield, Cassidy against Cardiff last week. So yeah, it's not an easy watch at times, but you just know, if they come up against a little bit of stiff opposition or their backs are against the wall, they seem to have a way of getting around that and moving on and regaining composure, and that's exactly what they did. That second goal from McAteer, that's not easy. His first touch was good, his second touch wasn't so good, but he manages to get it inside onto his left foot and get the shot away and arrows it into that far corner. So you've got to take your hat off to the lad. He was there obviously at the far post for that little dink from Iheanacho. So he deserves all the plaudits today, because 2 good finishes. Yes, he's in the right place at the right time, but that's what he's been coached to do. Make sure you're in at that far post. We've seen it umpteen times under Pep Guardiola's Man City with forwards or wide players in at the far post. He was there for the first one, and he did all the hard work for the second one, so he deserves that ovation.
It was one of those classic ones, the goal, the winner itself. The ball came over, you think, what a brilliant chance. His touch maybe wasn't the best, and he's had to turn around, go back on, and then with his left foot, it's a fantastic finich.
Yeah, he's got decent connection on it, hasn't he? Considering it's his weaker foot, he's not as confident on his left as his right, as many players aren't. But initially we were sort of groaning, thinking, the opportunity to pass. Great ball from Doyle, by the way. Picked his man out, fizzed it across. Drew the defender underneath it, Bramall, I think it was, wasn't it? Who missed the header initially. And And McAteer has a couple of iffy touches, to be fair, but he's finished it off superbly there, because not easy those. You sometimes try and sort of curl them and place them, not really expecting it to have the end result that you require. But he's put his foot through it a bit as well as sort of bending it a little bit there, and decent finish. He's given himself a chance of hitting the back of the net, and the keeper didn't cover himself in glory, to be honest, but couldn't do enough to prevent it travelling in the back of the net. And big celebrations, big moment for McAteer as well, wasn't it? Just one little quick point as well I wanted to make. When Vardy came on, I noticed as soon as he came on, took his position, and he signalled to the rest of the team, 2 hands up in the air, pushing downwards. Slow down, steady down, boys, because Leicester had not long conceded, and it was all a bit hectic.
It had gone hectic, hadn't it?
Yeah, it's gone hectic, and then obviously Rotherham are going to have a little bit of a go at things. They've been pepped up by scoring the goal. Obviously, a message from the manager via Jamie Vardy to the rest of the players: cool down, calm down, settle, have patience, and that's been a feature of Leicester's game, and part of the reason why they come on strong later on.
Which is what they did, and you look at the games that they've played so far. It's 5 goals that they've scored now after the 70-minute mark of the 7 that they've scored in the league, which is some going.
Yeah, really good in terms of, you could say, the wearing the opposition down. A little bit different today, because they were under the cosh second half in particular. I think there was a lot of energy shown by Rotherham. Their tails were up, and Leicester will find it difficult. It was a fight. And then they just had the spell before the goal where there's playing a few passes, getting a few moves going. And then it opened up nicely for the goal. What they've done well, even the Huddersfield goal, worked the overload. And it gives the opportunity for the wide player to either shoot first time or, in McAteer's case, cut back inside. But we spoke at the beginning of the programme about the change. And when you're winning games, you get them calls right. So Marcel's feeling disappointed that he's not started, was even involved amongst the substitutes today, and McAteer's come in and he's been the difference. 2 goals, winning performance, and man and match display. So everything seems to be working right for Leicester, and when you're winning games that seems to happen. You make them calls, you make them changes, and McAteer's proved to be the difference today.
That's depth for you, isn't it?
Yeah, even with certain big players departing in the close season, and the prospect of 1 or 2, possibly even more, doing so in the near future, but there's still that expectation that players will be coming through the door as well, back into the club. But even with what they've got at the moment, I mean, you look at it, perhaps a little bit of a shortage of attacking players on the bench. They had Vardy, Cassidy, Albrighton to a level, but there's not another. Well, Vardy, of course, on the bench, but there's not that great depth that you'd like. But certainly, when you look at the players that came off, the players came on, all possible starters, aren't they? Certainly Justin and Cassidy there. Chowdhury comes in, does a job. So Leicester have more depth than most of quality in this division. Yeah, I would say so. But it's I'm sort of semi-frustrated by how they played today. Like Jerry says, it's not always an easy watch, but they're still sort of finding their feet a little bit, finding their real rhythm. And I think Leicester, without doubt, will get better the longer the season goes on. But at the moment, the results are perfect. But I've just seen the stats flying up there. They've had, 7 shots on target to 1 of Rotherham's, double the amount of shots generally, not far off double the amount of possession. I wouldn't have thought Leicester were that dominant in the whole game, but over the duration, they are, and eventually that sort of gentle pressure, if you like, takes its toll on teams seemingly, because they keep getting the late charges, don't they?
Yeah, do you think they deserve to win the game, Jerry, Leicester today?
Yeah, I think, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I think sometimes the build-up play didn't get the end product that it deserves. I spoke about that during the first half. Some of the play in the first half I thought was excellent, the build-up play, and then just towards the final third or the edge of their 18-yard box, times just a little bit sloppy. But the build-up play to the McAteer goal I thought was very, very good indeed. And obviously, yes, he's had to work a little bit harder than he would have liked to, Casey McAteer, but, you know, the end result was what that move justified, you know, because it was composed, it was assured, there was crisp passing in it, there was a lovely ball from Doyle out to this right-hand side, and the finish applied. And in the first half, it wasn't quite that, although the first goal, you know, was a good move as well. There was 3 or 4 moves, possibly even 5 decent moves, and opportunities to get shots off or hit the target or whatever that just didn't quite come about. So, you know, the signs are really good for me. It's obviously just on the other side where soft goals are just being conceded for whatever reason. You know, we could sit and talk about that, but, you know, Leicester find a way yet again to get over the winning line. And that's great to see because, you know, as the lads have said, there's still improvement to come from this team.
Yeah, I mean, we won't obviously dwell on the negatives for too long, Jerry, but you were disappointed with the nature of the goal that Leicester did concede today.
Well, I just think, you know, it was a little floaty ball into the box from a wide area. That, you know, it wasn't like a ball that opened Leicester City's defence up. And I don't know, you know, and if you look at it again, you know, I think Odendemnia, what is he, about 5'10", 5'11", up against Vestergaard, 6'5". He gets done. The keeper sort of comes for it and then stops. So a little bit of indecision between the pair of them in there, and then you just flicks it into the bottom corner. And all right, if that ball's whipped in at pace and hits Odendemnia on the side of the head and goes in, you can hold your hand up and say, wow, what a ball in the box. But it was just a little floaty thing. So that means you've got enough time as a defender and a keeper or as a back forward to try and deal with those types of balls into the box. So disappointed. That's why I'm disappointed with that. But I thought overall, you know, they looked pretty solid today. The back line. And Vestergaard in particular, you know, he scrapped for every ball. All right, he didn't win every ball, but he scrapped and fought for every ball, especially when they were under pressure in that second half. So I think that's probably his best game today for me, Vestergaard. So he can be proud of that. But there's still, you know, that little piece of the jigsaw missing, and it keeps chipping away. It's like, you know, when they give away these soft goals or they give away soft chances, and we've seen them getting away with 1 or 2 of those in the games that have gone past. You think, well, you know, you can't keep giving these soft chances away because sooner or later teams are going to take them. But thankfully, again, there wasn't too many of those. We didn't see too many of those people running through one-on-one and duffing the shot, or the keeper having to pull a great save off. It's just that the goal, I think, was just a little bit soft.
Well, thankfully, in the grand scheme of things today, Matty, it didn't really matter Leicester getting the win in the end. Jerry used the word fight a lot today in that, and Leicester did have to do that. We said a lot before the game, didn't we, about how in the Championship at grounds like this, the opposition will be fighting for absolutely every point they can. Leicester will need to go and show that, and they did today.
Yeah, I thought Rotherham gave it a right good go, put Leicester under a lot of pressure. Sort of knew what they were after it in terms of, you saw the battles between Rathbone in particular with Dewsbury Hall, Vestergaard and Hugill. He put himself around, bit of a nuisance, but they were trying to get free kicks or knock down second balls, so they've got opportunities to put Leicester under pressure. They didn't have too many clear-cut chances. I felt when you reflect on the game, Leicester had more of the clear-cut chances, more of the openings, even though I felt watching it, it's different obviously from Jerry's perspective when you're live at the game as opposed to watching it. I felt Rotherham applied more pressure, particularly second half, but then before the goal, McAteer's goal, Leicester just had them little moments, that bit of quality, managed to ride out that pressure from Rotherham and started playing themselves back into the game. And then there's that one moment where it's fallen for McAteer at the back post, does really well and converts his chance. But that's the difference. They didn't really have that, but they were fighting for every single ball and put Leicester under a lot of pressure. whether they had the clear-cut moments, which is good from a Leicester perspective. They didn't really, but I felt like they fought for it, and Leicester sort of ground it out without being. They didn't really dominate possession. Whether the stats say different, I never felt that Leicester had it under control, or it was a case of can Leicester probe and break through. It was only that sort of 10-minute spell before the second goal where Leicester really played the football. Yes, there's a few moments first half where they played it through and ball in behind, but other than that, it's one of them where you graft, get through it, and again, it's a really good sign that you're winning, and probably not even close to the best.
Yeah.
But it's 2 goals, and all in all, they were quite solid defensively. I know it was a soft goal concede, but throughout they looked sort of steady, and Rotherham didn't cause too much problems, but applied a bit of pressure.
I think that's summed it up pretty well there. Excuse me, I saw it similarly. I looked at the stats just now, which I referred to, and they quite surprised me, really. I thought Rotherham were more in the game than those stats suggest, without being particularly threatening. And you put that down incorrectly. So I think Leicester being generally pretty solid defensively. The goal aside, and also I know it's irrelevant, but the offside goal from Rotherham as well. Hugo was offside, and that's partly, that's down to efficiency from Leicester as they squeezed up from the corner, but they didn't win the initial contact, which is a little bit worrying, as they didn't when they conceded the goal. So something for the manager to look at there. But yeah, they didn't look as scrambled defensively today as they have done at times against Cardiff, again as Matty mentions, against Coventry on occasions, less so Huddersfield. But having said that, it is a good sign when, not just when you're winning games and not playing amazingly well, but also that they've got that confidence. I mentioned about Vardy coming on and steady down. The players have got that mentality to say, okay, all right, yeah, we trust the manager. We're not ruffled too much by conceding the goal. We haven't got to get in this straight away and score back and regain our lead. But they've got the belief in what they do and how they play individually, collectively, to work their way back into games. There's enough time remaining, and that's proven to be the case, hasn't it? Whether it's intentional or not, it's starting to come across that way.
Jerry, you gave Casey McAteer your player of the match award today. Obviously, I don't think anyone was going to doubt that one. And the fact that he's been injured, hasn't he? He had that debut or the first league start on the opening day, then picked up the injury. That must have been so frustrating for him. But the way he's returned to the team today was fantastic.
Yeah, and having watched his teammates score a cracker last week and thinking, well, I might not be in the team today, but the manager's kept faith in him, and he's repaired that manager's faith. And I thought his overall game was good. He had a tough afternoon against Cohen Bramall. He wasn't given any quarter whatsoever, but what McAteer did, he just kept going and going. And I think that, when you talk about these late goals, I think that's what you're seeing with Leicester. They keep probing, keep pushing. When they regain the composure in that second half, after Rotherham equalise, you're seeing them get back into their step, into their rhythm with the passing. Rotherham are chasing the ball, and in the end, Rotherham just ran out of steam. And it was the same with, I think Matty talked about he wasn't close enough. The distance between Bramall and McAteer wasn't close enough. It allowed him to come inside and get that shot off. But I think that's Leicester sticking to the process and just grinding teams down physically, and they're just not being able to cope. And at the end, there was 4 or 5 of the Rotherham players on their knees. They just... And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why you're seeing these late goals going in, because when they regain their composure, like I said, and they get back into their rhythm, keeping the ball well, moving the ball well, creating opportunities. And today, it was Casey McAteer's day. Simple as that. Great finish.
It's interesting you say that, Tanks. I didn't get to hear Conor Cody much last week when he was on, but I'd like to know what him and other players would say about how their preparation was in pre-season, because I know to a degree that they weren't moaning, but players love a whinge, don't they? But they were saying how intense it was, double sessions regularly, and very testing sessions as well. They weren't just going through tactical procedures, etc. And and you look at them; they do look fit, already, even at this early stage of the season, of the campaign. I don't know. I think traditionally you sort of say, well, it takes me half a dozen games to really get into match fit zone, if you like, for want of a better word. But they've been sharp from the off, really, haven't they? And again, possibly part of the reason they've got that staying power to come on strong later in the games, as well as the mentality that Jerry's just spoken about. But I don't know if Connacht said anything about pre-season, did he? But it wouldn't surprise me, because they do look fit and sharp and durable.
Yeah, you were on the sofa next to him last week, Matty, didn't he? He spoke about all the training sessions are intense.
Yeah.
He even still, while he's injured, will go and watch a lot of it just to pick up on some bits. But he said every single second pretty much is intense, Matty.
Even the ones where he's mentioned the tactical sessions, which aren't, you think, demanding, but in the mind where you've got to be switched on, which position are you going to be in? If the ball moves here, where we've got the overloads. And seen with the goal, there was overload on the far side of the switch. At Huddersfield, there was the overload over the far side with the switch. The Coventry goal, Keenan right at the end, bodies in the box. Cassaday last weekend, bodies on the box. And it was relentless, as Jerry said. The Rotherham lads were out on their knees, literally. But it's that pressure and sort of playing under that pressure. And Leicester keeping the ball at times. Didn't see loads of it today, but obviously Rotherham put everything into it, and Leicester just at the right time up the play, got a few moves going, and then got that overload. And that could be through with tactics as well as what they. I don't know if winning brings that extra bit of energy, that confidence, but they do look super fit even early in the season. And you'd say, how's that? But they do seem a little bit sharp in everything they do, whether that's training, whether that's in the mind. And it also helps when you've got quality players to come on. Like Jamie Vardy looked fired up for today. Just everything he was chasing, and just even getting back into that game, whether it's been set your minds or chasing a lost cause and getting the team up the pitch. So everyone plays the part in it as well.
That fitness has to be testament to the amount of late goals that they're scoring, as you were touching upon.
It's occurring too often, isn't it, for it to be an accident? Yeah, I think, especially when. But it's intelligent play though as well. Again, I know, risk of repeating myself, but it was more noticeable today than other times. Like Vardy coming on, I just noticed those signals towards the team. Let's settle down. There was a confidence, a belief from the manager to the players that don't worry, there's time there. Our time will come through again. Don't panic and start. Everything could have gone awry, and Rotherham could have picked up on that and gone for the winner. They get the winner, and then all of a sudden, it's a really disappointing day. It's worked out quite the opposite, because, how they've gone about applying themselves, really. That belief that, just steady the ship, don't let things fall to pieces. As long as you get through the next few minutes, and then take the sting out of the game, and then we'll come strong again. Whether that's knowing that the opposition will start to fade a little bit, and you've got that belief and knowledge that you're going to come on strong physically, and also because if you keep pass, and keep probing and keep testing, over 90, 100 odd minutes as it was today, teams are going to drop off, and cracks will appear, space will arise, and it's proved to be the case. I don't know, to happen, not 5 times because they dominated at Burton, but it's happened 4 times out of 4 in the Championship, pretty much. Leicester haven't. Well, the stats say different most of the time, but when you're watching it, Leicester have not been imperious, but they've been quite good, pretty good at times, but a lot more to come. But still, you fancy them to come out on top, and they have done. They have done. The fixtures have gone quite well for them as well, haven't they? Really, you look at it, you think, okay, favourable, but they've made the most of it, and. It's sitting pretty right now. Yeah,
as you can see on the right hand side of your screen there. I mean, there's 4 teams on 10 points, Jerry. Leicester now the only team with a 100% record at the start of the season.
Well, it's great reading, and it'll fill the dressing room full of confidence as well. You know, simple as that. You know, you spoke about all the pros and cons of playing in this league, and players leaving, other players coming in, having to fit around this new system, everything else. The training, the intensity of it, and all that does is feed confidence when you go home and you look at the league table and you go, right, 4 from 4, 12 points. The players then are in that dressing room saying, bloody hell, you know, this is working. This is the right thing to do. So that will just keep giving them confidence the more that they win. Now, obviously, there may well come a time where they lose a game or draw a game, but to win your first 4 league games in a row, I mean, I don't know when the last time that was done, but it doesn't happen too often at any level. And especially with the shake-up that this club has had over the last 3 or 4 months. So, you know, credit to the manager and his coaching staff, and credit to the players for taking everything on board and going out and, you know, and sealing the deal, because it's the players at the end of the day that have to go out and seal the deal, and they've done that.
Well, it's the first time, Jerry, in Leicester City history that they've done it. The first 4 games of the league season, all won, 12 points out of 12. We've got plenty more coming up on Fox's Hub over the coming week or so. We've got to talk about this victory, of course, against Rotherham, yet another victory. Bank Holiday Monday, maybe Bank Holiday will still be here with extra time to speak about that victory. And then the day after, it's another game. It's Tranmere Rovers in the Cup away from home, the next round of the Carabao Cup. And then, of course, it's the final game before the international break. Leicester hoping to make it 5 wins from 5 at the start of the season in the league. Big thank you to Jerry Taggart, who's travelled to Rotherham for us today, to Matty Fryatt and to Matt Elliott for their company in the studio this afternoon on another record-breaking day for the Foxes. 4 wins from 4 in the league at the start of the season for the first time in the club's history. Goodbye.